The desert sun burned mercilessly over the wide plains, casting shadows across the endless stretch of land. Dust rose with each heavy step of the rancher's boots as he walked back toward the stables, carrying the weight of both the day's work and the storms inside his heart. For years, life had been a cycle of sunrise and sunset, cattle and fences, loneliness and silence. He had built walls around his soul as strong as the fences he hammered into the ground. And yet, everything changed the moment she whispered those words, soft, trembling, and filled with something he hadn't allowed himself to feel in years: hope. Please, take them off. Before I take you deeper into this journey of love, loss, and redemption, I ask you to stay with me until the end. And while you're here, please take a moment to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. And if you enjoy heartfelt stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more soul-stirring tales that touch the heart. The rancher's name was Caleb. He was a man who wore his pain like his old, dust-stained hat, always there, shading his eyes, hiding his truest self. Years ago, he had loved deeply, but the woman he thought he'd spend forever with had left without a word. Since then, trust had been a stranger, and love an enemy. His ranch was his world, his cattle his only companions, and silence his most loyal friend. That day, however, was not ordinary. While repairing the north fence, Caleb saw dust rising in the distance. A rider approached, a figure small against the horizon, yet determined. As she drew closer, he noticed her hat tilted slightly to the side, long hair tumbling loosely, and eyes that seemed to carry the weight of the desert sky itself. Her name was Elena. Elena was not from this land. She had come from the city, escaping a life of expectations and obligations she could no longer bear. The desert, with its harsh beauty, called to her spirit. She was tired of pretending to be someone she was not, tired of wearing masks that others demanded she wear. When she first met Caleb, the silence between them was thick, almost unbearable. He was polite but distant, answering her questions with short words, his eyes always drifting away. She found work helping in the stables, insisting she could manage the roughness of ranch life. And slowly, against his own will, Caleb found himself drawn to her strength. She wasn't fragile like he feared, she was fire disguised as calm. Days turned into weeks. Elena and Caleb worked side by side, sometimes in silence, sometimes in laughter. Yet, beneath it all, a tension grew, an unspoken connection, fragile and terrifying. Caleb would find himself watching her when she wasn't looking, memorizing the way the sun caught strands of her hair, or how she whispered gently to the horses as though they could understand her soul. But love is never without challenges. The first was fear, Caleb's fear of being broken again, of letting someone close only to be abandoned. Elena's fear of not belonging, of never being enough for this world she was trying to embrace. The second challenge was judgment. The nearby townsfolk whispered, "A city girl at a ranch." They doubted her, mocked her behind closed doors. Some told Caleb she would leave just like the last one did, that women like her never stayed. And the greatest challenge of all was the past. Caleb's heart still carried scars from betrayal, while Elena's family in the city kept sending letters, urging her to return to the life she had run from. Every word in those letters clawed at her, reminding her of chains she was trying so desperately to break. One evening, after a long day, Caleb and Elena sat outside the ranch house. The desert sky stretched above them, painted in hues of purple and gold. The silence between them was heavy, yet filled with meaning. Elena turned to him, her voice trembling as though carrying every unshed tear of her life. "Caleb, please, take them off." For a moment, he froze. His mind spun. What did she mean? Then her eyes fell to his hands. He wore old, cracked gloves, leather so worn it had molded to his skin. He had never taken them off in her presence. Those gloves were more than protection. They were a barrier, a shield between his world and anyone who tried to touch it. "Take them off," she whispered again, "because I can't reach you if you keep hiding." The rancher's knees buckled under the weight of her words. It wasn't the gloves she wanted him to remove. It was his fear, his armor, his refusal to let love in. For the first time in years, his hands trembled as he slid the gloves off, exposing rough, scarred palms. He had used those hands to build, to fight, to survive. And now, for the first time, they shook with vulnerability. Elena took his hands into hers. They didn't flinch, didn't recoil. She held them gently, as though they were sacred. Tears filled Caleb's eyes. All the walls he had built began to crumble in that moment, and he realized that love wasn't about never being hurt, it was about trusting someone enough to risk it again. But their journey didn't magically smooth out after that night. Elena struggled to adapt to the harsh realities of ranch life. Her body ached from long days, her hands blistered, her skin burned beneath the desert sun. There were moments she thought of leaving, of surrendering to the comfort of her old life. Caleb, too, battled his demons. There were days he withdrew, haunted by the ghost of the woman who had left him, afraid history would repeat itself. And then came the storm. A violent summer storm swept across the plains, scattering cattle and tearing down fences. For hours, Caleb and Elena fought side by side, drenched, battered by wind and rain. Horses panicked, cattle broke loose, and exhaustion gnawed at them. Yet in the chaos, Elena refused to leave his side. At one point, when Caleb nearly collapsed, it was her strength that held him up. That storm became a turning point. Caleb realized Elena wasn't someone who would run when things grew hard. She had chosen this life, and more importantly, she had chosen him. And Elena realized that love wasn't about perfection, it was about standing firm in the storm, together. As weeks turned to months, their bond deepened. The townsfolk who once doubted Elena began to respect her. They saw her ride into town, dirt on her clothes, determination in her eyes, and they realized she was not pretending. She belonged here. Caleb's laughter slowly returned, his eyes softened, and the ranch, once a lonely kingdom, came alive with warmth again. He had taken off his gloves not just that night, but every day since, allowing love to seep into his calloused hands and hardened heart. And so, under the vast desert sky, two broken souls built something whole together. Love, they learned, is not about avoiding pain. It's about having the courage to take off the armor, to let someone in, and to believe again, even when the past whispers that you shouldn't. When Elena first asked Caleb to take off his gloves, he thought she was asking for bare hands. But what she truly asked for was bare truth, bare soul, bare love. And in giving her that, he found the healing he never thought possible. So, dear listener, if there's one thing to take from this story, let it be this. Sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do is remove the armor you've built to protect yourself. But if you never take it off, you'll never feel the warmth of another hand holding yours. Thank you for joining me in this journey today. If this story touched your heart, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness so we can continue sharing stories that remind us of love, hope, and the beauty of second chances.